Wow.
Are you going to do it again? Nothing.
Talk to the hand.
You're right. It's not exactly how it went.
Nope. I was
Wait,
being kind of ridiculous.
There we go. You trying to see the dude walking around outside?
Well, he's walking by my truck. I'm just not sure what he was doing.
All right, let me check it out. Hold on. I got my Batman shirt on.
He went to the other way. That's the problem with having a window right in front of us.
What are you doing, homie?
What are you doing, homie?
Better check the license plate. That's right.
Oh.
It says USMC on that sucker. You better keep walking.
So it is Friday. It's been
a hell of a week.
Oh my gosh.
How's your week been?
I hope it was calm. I hope it was educational. I hope it was enlightening. I hope it was empowering. I mean, that was our week.
It was.
We had a lot of ups and downs. We had some peaks and valleys, if you will, this week. So there was some high emotions and some low emotions, I guess you could say.
I think for all of us, there's a lot going on, and it's good though. It's good when you get through it. It's good when you have a team around you to bounce things off of, because when one of us is freaking out, there's one in the room going, "It's okay. It's not that big a deal. Let's take a deep breath. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
what are you gonna do with it?"
I started the week off with that.
Hey, and we rounded it out.
All three of us.
It's got to happen. It's going to happen. And I would rather it happen together than behind closed doors, because you tend to bring that with you, and not in a good way, because the stories that you make up in your head of what your interpretation is of what's going on is not always the best.
Yeah. And then in a year we can sit on this live and we can have a conversation and go, "Hey, remember when?"
Oh man, then it'll be a real story time.
Remember when?
Hey, do you remember that time you completely freaked out? How stupid that was.
Hey, you remember when you threw your computer across the room?
Oh, yeah, not there yet, but
no,
close.
I don't think, well.
Close today.
I won't do that because I know what that'll
They're
just
too
destroy
expensive,
my computer.
and I need
and
everything
I'm not
that's
in
on
that
it.
place anymore. There was a time in my life, though,
that you would have just tossed it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right out the window.
That thing would have been up against the wall, exploding. Just done. I don't get
Did
like
you have
that
a little bit of
anymore.
rage?
I did. I did. And you know, my indicator was always when I was behind the wheel of a car. Because I was that guy. So way back when they had all those shootings in California.
Yes.
For the road rage?
Yes.
I understood.
You understood.
I did. I mean, I got it.
Yeah.
I understood it.
Hi, John. Thanks for coming in.
It made sense to me.
I do understand that.
But now I'm in a totally different place. I don't even get like that behind the wheel.
No, because I think when you understand that it can be one silly thing that can throw somebody off completely, because they focus on that one thing that may have gone wrong. Maybe they're late. I think 9% of the time they're late, or there's somebody in the car that's been egging them on all day long, getting under their skin, allowing somebody to kind of take possession of your emotions. And you're just not dealing with your own, right? So then it comes out, and the one thing that you have control over is your vehicle, so you think. And it's just a very scary thing.
It goes actually even deeper than that. It actually goes to the level of, so all those micro moments we talk about. Mm-hmm. So you have all these experiences that just keep building up, and you're not in a position to have the outlets, or you're not in that self-awareness state, or you're not emotionally to that point where you can let that stuff go. So it's like a glass of water, right? So you got this bottle of water. I don't know if you can see it. The water's like right here. A lot of people live with the water right here. So then you add stuff on, right? And it shakes a little, and then the water spills out. Well, the water spilling out is people pissing and moaning and calling each other assholes on the road and whatever else, right? We're just talking about road rage right now. And then they do that, and then the water level goes back down. And then a couple more things happen when they get home with the wife and the kids. It goes back full, another thing happens, shakes a little bit, the water's out, and they blow up again. A lot of people live with their bottle full of water. Mm-hmm. I have learned now, I don't know if my bottle is this empty, but I probably live here. It takes a lot, and I don't think I ever, it's been a really, really long time that I've allowed my bottle to fill with water and shake it and spill it out. The last time actually I remember doing that, I kicked a chair in bare feet, and the chair actually lifted like 2 feet off the ground. I swear to God, I almost broke my toe.
I was gonna say,
it hurt.
You didn't walk away with
it. It hurt for a while.
Broken foot?
Luckily, my wife is working right now, so she can't watch this video, but she definitely will. She'll probably be on and be like, oh, yeah, I remember that one. All because my kid couldn't find their shoe, their cleat. He couldn't find his cleat for baseball practice.
Okay, story time, right? So we're going to talk about having your bottle too full, right?
Well,
and not being in control of your emotions. These are embarrassing, but important to tell, right? And I'm only telling it because it has to do with children. And children, I don't care how old they get, they know exactly what buttons to push because they're your children. So they are you. Keep that in mind, that they are only a product of what they see and hear. So be careful. Not to say that we're all like conscious when we're behaving, because we're all adults, but we all can act like children as well. We can be immature in our spirit and certainly in our emotions. I punched a hole in the door of the bathroom. I don't even remember what it was. I just remember that it was specifically my child had upset me about something. And I'm sure, like you, if Kevin was watching right now, he would be feverishly typing.
5:34, so he might be watching.
Feverishly typing, because I'm sure that he remembered, because I was in an absolute out of my mind rage because my cup was so full and I was so involved with other things. And this was probably 8 years ago. I mean, Brandon's 18 now, and like now we can have rational conversation. But back then it was, they're constantly pulling at you and wanting something and manipulating, and, they're working one parent against the other parent. And I really hate that. Like manipulating, lying, and kind of that deceitful behavior is the most unforgiving to me. And then to have it come from your kiddo and make you look like a clown. And I believe that's kind of what it was. And we happened to be home, and I shut the bathroom door, and I just wanted to explode. I wanted to rip my skin off. I was so mad. And I took it out on the poor bathroom door. And then when I opened the door, my knuckles were bruised. And my husband God love him. He looked at me and he goes, "It's okay. We can replace the door." Are you okay? And now we have a punching bag. So it's all good.
But isn't that funny how, see, today we can sit back and we can laugh.
We can laugh about it. But at the time,
can you remember a time recently,
the
last 2 years, you've never done like that?
Mm-mm. No.
Isn't that crazy how we grow?
Yeah.
And that's why we talk, and that's why we get on. Yeah. And that's why this is actually kind of good. We didn't know what the hell we were going to talk about today.
Nope.
We knew it was leadership, really, right? and we're like, well, we're just going to do story time. We didn't know what story time was going to be. And it just evolves into this. But it's really cool how you can look back on your life and the growth that you've done and the certain things. And that's why we come on these lives, to share these experiences, share these now funny moments. They definitely weren't funny in the moment.
No. But
now they're funny looking back at the stupid stuff we did. Yeah. And, it's how we got to where we're at, though. And we didn't, I didn't forget all of that stuff.
Mhm.
You haven't forgotten all that stuff.
No.
And there's certain things, when I became aware of that rage that I could get,
Yeah.
so now I'm in control. I don't allow myself to get there anymore because I know what my triggers are,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand how to keep me in a different state. I mean, it's hard with all these comments.
I know, because
I understand.
said I could put a steel plate on it.
I know, and I should have been in the NFL, I'm assuming for a kicker. But now I understand how to keep myself in a much better state of mind so I don't get to that point. But if I had to protect my family or those people around me, I bet you I could flip that switch like that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true.
But I think that's that 1,000,000-year embedded fight or flight that's already ingrained in us from years and years and years, right? Yeah. Back to T-Rex's days.
T-Rex's days?
T-Rex's days.
T-Rex's days. Okay. I would have to say, like, as you're talking about past experiences and how, at the time they were super serious and now they're kind of funny. I'm thinking back to all the military leadership, silly, stupid decisions, out of necessity and in some ways, and out of just absolute pure leadership. Like, this is how you take care of your people, right? So, I don't think I certainly haven't told this story like this in front of how many thousands of people are watching us all over the world.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell it now because I feel like enough time has passed. But we had a couple of new Marines come into our unit. They were just babies. They just graduated from school. They came in, and guess what? We're getting ready to go out to 29 Palms for 3 weeks, something like that. And of course, supply, as much as we love them, they don't always have all the gear that we need. So me, as a new sergeant, I had told, now, mind you, I was with 1st Marine Division, and we supported grunt units, okay? All the grunt units at Camp Pendleton. So we went to the field, we had to make sure to have all of our gear and then some. So when you show up and you go to supply and you don't have any gear, you find it, right? So all of the trucks have to go in a convoy out. So if you're any part of 1st Marine Division, whatever that may be, whether you're G-shops, which means that there's a lot of officers, admin, legal, people like that, they all still need to go to the field. They all still need to do these things. They all have really nice gear. And we told them, if you're gonna leave it in the motor pool, you better make sure to take your gear with you because nobody's here watching it, and we'd certainly hate for it to walk away. Okay, so I get 2 new Marines that check in like 2 days before we all leave, and they're standing in line in the platoon, and they have no idea what to do. They have no gear. We're spending 3 weeks in the field, and I looked at one of my corporals and I said, we have all of these trucks lined up. I want you to go check the trucks quick. He's like, yeah, they're all full of gear. Good to go. Meet me here after dark. So we jumped the motor pool chain link fence, and we're all dressed all in black. And there wasn't a lot of light in that motor pool at the time anyway. But we went in and we basically took what we needed to get those Marines covered for those 3 weeks. Nothing more than what we needed. They came back the next day. We had all the gear that they needed. It was good to go. Everybody took care of everybody. So they still talk about that. I'm still friends with those people, and they still talk about that time when Sergeant Fears took care of her Marines. And for me, it was adapt and overcome. You know, we're going to get the gear that we need. Gear adrift is a gift kind of thing, and we acquire, we don't steal. So, yeah, anyway, those guys all gotten taken care of. And that's still a story they talk about because they were genuinely felt like they were a part of the family. But for me, it was that leadership position of I'm going to protect them as their sergeant, and I'm going to make sure that they have what they need to be successful in the field. So I think we all have those kinds of stories. Funny, they can be serious in the moment. They could, you know, these guys coming back from combat, you know, not everybody that goes into combat is getting blown up and and they're not always losing friends, and they're not, I mean, it's very serious, and they're put into very serious circumstances and situations where they have to make life altering decisions, especially for other people. But there are a lot of really great stories that come out of that we can look back at and laugh at. And you have to, that's a part of our coping mechanism is to laugh about these things because they're so serious, right? We don't laugh because we're like, it's just like a comedy routine. This is life and death. And that is a release for us to be able to laugh about these things as we look back and reflect. So all of us have such different, leadership.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
stories.
Tons of them.
Of your kids, your spouse, yourself, people that you've worked with. I mean, I'm sure that you've worked with in your tenure of working.
Well, I've got the people that I've worked with. I've got the people that
you've coached,
followed as leaders. I've got the people that I played ball with.
Right.
The coaches that I've had, the coaching I did.
I'm sure you've got some good stories of coaching that.
And I got a funny one, and it kind of leads into leadership and we talked about the power of submission yesterday. So as a leader, we have to be able to follow directions.
Yes.
Right? And we have to be, if we know that we're chasing a leadership position, we have to be very good followers to be very good leaders. Mm-hmm. Right? So I left a decent paying job to go into the oil changing world and that's literally when I started my career in automobiles. Mm-hmm. And took a major pay cut to go because this guy believed in me and said, you'll have your own store. Anyways, so I go and I'm getting trained by the manager who happened to be also my friend. And so we're down in the pit and he goes, stay on my heels and follow me and watch every move. So I did just that. And in the oil change world, you had pits. So you would drive your vehicle in and there was a pit. Mm-hmm. And then you would be in the pit and there's an oil drain canister that sits on rails and it goes back and forth. So if you're doing differentials, transmissions, whatever. So I'm on his heels like he asked, and he might be watching this. And he goes underneath the drain caddy and shoves it to go underneath to get the filter. And I was right there and boom, smacked me right upside the head. And he congratulated me for following direction and being right there at his feet. But I mean, it's kind of a funny story, but it just shows that I was so intent on what he had told me, that following the direction and learning, that I didn't even see what was
coming right at your face.
Coming right at my face. It held. They usually held anywhere from 15 to 25 gallons of oil. So,
whoa,
we're midway through the day. It's pretty full. I had oil all down me, on my face. It was, I got so many stories from so many industries.
Yeah.
Like you said, we could just go on and on and on.
I have a under the vehicle oil story, actually. Funny you would mention that. His last name was Tostado. He was from New York, and he was about the greasiest dude, but he knew trucks like nobody's business. And so coming in Motor T, I wanted to be a mechanic. I wanted to learn. If I'm driving and I want to know how to fix it. And so, we were voluntold to come in on the weekends and help out with some maintenance. And so I did. And of course, I show up in, t-shirt, jeans and a baseball cap because I'm going to be under trucks and whatnot. Oh my God, so naive. It's such a funny story because it's so new to the Marine Corps and so naive to so many other things. But here we are under a Humvee. We can't be that hard, right? Changing the oil on your car. And there are certain steps that you must take under a vehicle like that. And so I removed the drain plug and I moved my head to put the drain plug down, and I put my bill of my hat directly under the oil that was, it was like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I had oil like a fondue fountain, but it was oil. Thank God I had a hat on, because it would rain. I was so, like you, I was so intent on following direction that I wasn't even paying attention to what my surroundings, oh boy. And I held on to that hat forever. And it stunk so bad, but it was a funny memory. And I would always wear that to work when I got the opportunity to do it. But he was a great leader. Yeah, but it's just one memory after the other. Aren't they all coming back now?
Sure.
Now that we talk about
same oil change center. We had this girl working for us, and she really didn't know how to drive stick. And that was back in the day where we actually pulled the vehicles in and out. So we're going way back. This is like early 90s. And we had this girl, and she had this vehicle that she needed to pull. I'm pretty sure it was a Toyota. So she's like, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I said, just ease it. So just push on the gas. And
it's going badly. I already know it.
Let on the clutch slowly.
Uh-huh.
And then when it's out front, just leave it in gear and turn it off, and then it won't roll.
All right.
So I'm sitting there checking this customer out. So he's in the lobby. We're sitting there. And all of a sudden, while I'm talking to him, I hear this motor just, she dumps the clutch quickly. The tires are spinning. She squeals out of and immediately slams on the brakes, because 27th Street was right there. So, I mean, like, you're right out in the middle of traffic. Holy crap. And so I got this customer sitting there like, what did she just do to my car? Talk about an overcoming a DAP moment. That was one of them. Because that, customer service, we just torched your tires on the car.
Yeah, sorry
left
about that.
Left a nice black mark out the drive. Oh.
It's got some horsepower.
No, it was a 4-cylinder. Really didn't. But boy, did she torch them tires. Oh my God. So many stories like that, though. So many stories. Coaching, I could come up with a ton with coaching. I could come up with a ton for playing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And we would truly love to hear your stories that are out there, because I know that you're watching and you're laughing and you're totally relating with what we're talking about, that we all have this book, and it's really fun to sit around and start telling stories about circumstances that we've been in that are uncomfortable, embarrassing, and now that we look back, they were learning. And we were teaching other people, and we're still teaching, and we're still learning all the time. Embarrassing things. I would have to say, though, with all of that, wouldn't you find that now as you're older, you find it harder in some instances to ask for help?
Yeah, in some instances, but in many more, I think
I need help.
I ask more now than ever before.
Yeah.
But because my mind happens to be back in the early 90s, I was a pretty confident, cocky, I'm going to rule the world.
Yeah.
King of the, I was
guilty, 100% guilty.
But there was a portion of that I needed to be successful in my career early on, because it was pretty competitive.
Ditto.
So there was a portion of that, and I don't know, there was probably some arrogance there for sure, but there was definitely some confidence that I was gaining,
Yeah.
Because even playing ball, there was confidence that I was gaining playing ball, because I didn't play a lot in high school at all. And then I go and somebody says, hey, you should try out for the semi-pro team. So I go and I try out for the semi-pro team, and I make the team. Mm-hmm. And then I'm playing ball, so there's a whole confidence gaining there. And I'm listening to all these coaches who I respected. And and I wasn't quick to ask for help. It was more like, I'm going to just do it. you know?
Yeah, I would
which
have
I'm
to
sure
say
you can relate to
totally.
early in the Marine Corps, right?
Yeah, because it was, well, I was only 2% roughly in 96, mid 90s. Females were only 2% of the Marine Corps. So I hate to say it that way, but we always had to prove ourselves, no matter what. We had to prove ourselves. Not that men didn't have to, but it was a good old boys club. And women at the time, depending on what MOS they had, were not welcome. And so immediately when you came in the door, it was, oh, great, female. You know, you ran into that at every turn. And so whatever it was in my upbringing, from my grandparents, from my mother, from my dad, I don't know where it came from, but my ability to walk in like I owned the room, even when I didn't feel like I knew anything. I think just in your own posture and the way that you approach things, when you're confident in you and you're open to asking the questions and you get focused on what you're doing. I was damn determined to learn. I was going to jump in, and I figured if I made mistakes, oh well, that's the best way to do it, because you're really never failing unless you just decide to all out quit. Then you can call that a failure. That's the only time.
I think that mentality helped me, though, that bulldozer mentality.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think.
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah.
And I figured out a lot of ways not to do stuff. Especially early on as a manager.
Yeah.
I can tell you, for you fresh managers, never been managing before, becoming friends with your employees is not a good thing. They don't listen to you. That was bad, but that was early on. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any true guidance there. You know, I was in one of those positions where I possessed some skills, but I was good at what I did. So it was an automatic promotion just because I was good at the work. Mm-hmm. Didn't mean I was going to be a good manager, right? I mean, I have personally never promoted somebody in all of my years in my career. I've never promoted somebody that was really good at their job to be a leader unless they possessed leadership skills that I knew they were going to be a good leader, because I didn't want to set them up for failure.
Right.
You know, so like technicians, there's some technicians out there that are phenomenal, but that doesn't mean that they would be a good leader.
Right.
They're good at what they do. They're good at their craft, but as far as interpersonal skills and all that other stuff that would, you know, if there's nothing there to build upon, a lot of technicians take jobs like that because they don't want to deal with all of that stuff. Okay. That's why they do that. They're more introverts.
You know what I was going to ask you, right?
But I've watched many companies bypass me to promote others, and I would sit there and go, well, that was a dumb move because you just created havoc for me. They're not ready. Mm-hmm. That's not what they want to do. And you just bumped them there, and then they would. Yeah. And then they get frustrated, and then I would lose a good tech or something of that nature. And it's like, I think when we talked about leadership this week, in your leadership role, and this specifically for business right now, but you'll grow, right? And you can move up the chain of command, if you will. I know for a fact, you should never lose sight of where you started from in that management or leadership role at a different level, more of a frontline level, as you gain traction into the more corporate level, more senior level, because then you make those fatal mistakes. And you ruin people's careers for making dumb choices, really, and that's where you have to be that power of submission, like we talked about yesterday. That's where you have to be able to listen to the people that are below you in your support network for you to be the leader. Right. Because the more powerful you make them, the better you're going to be. Yep. And even young managers don't want to grow other people to be strong because
Why?
they think they're going to lose their job.
Yes.
And honestly, if I was in that position and I'm looking at promoting somebody because I need them to do something else, I'm going to look for that manager that I know I can take out and not have to worry about if that department falls apart. Because they've trained people to do their job. So now I can promote that person and take them out of their position because I know that department won't fall.
Yeah.
It'll run because they took the time to teach them. So important lesson there if you're in the management role. And I know most of our audience probably has lots of years of experience based on statistics, but for the young people that are just getting into management, do not be afraid to teach your people how to do your job, because that helps you. One, you learn how to be a better manager by teaching, because we always learn how to do our task by teaching.
Yes.
And number two, when you're empowering people to do what you do, that makes it very easy for the upper management to come in, snag you, and promote you and put you in a different position because they know that is solid. You created a solid team, and that's what true leaders do.
Do you know why I'm totally fidgeting in my seat? Because as you're talking about it, that is everything military. You just talked about every single person in the military starting with boot camp. That is exactly what they're taught. You will know every job, every position, so that when we have to snag somebody, or if you should go into a situation where you lose somebody, that next person's going to step in without hesitation. And that's why we come out of the military with a different set of skills. And that's why a lot of times the transition period for people that are in the military, especially that have been in for a very long time and done certain jobs really, really well and are making a ridiculous amount of money because, well, that's what they should be making. When they come out of the military, they don't have that transition of wrapping their mind around what it is to work in the civilian world and to work with people who don't have that managerial mindset, that leadership mindset, that warrior mindset of, I need to make sure that these guys know their jobs as well. I need to make sure that the new kid coming in has the tools and the people available to him to train him and to mentor him into becoming a leader. Some people, like you were saying before, they're maybe they are good leaders, just not ready yet. They don't know that they're ready yet. They haven't even been asked if they want to do something like that. So when you pull them from that position and you put them in a leadership role, they're so totally out of their element that they will shut down. And now you have people coming to them that want answers, and now they're pushing them away. And so the people that would have been really great to mentor are totally turned off and usually will leave. That's when you start losing people in your company. And that's really where the military, back to that military, that disconnect of getting out, there really isn't any job, I don't think, that you can walk directly into that understands, unless there are military personnel within that company that understand the leadership skills that we have, that we're given and we're taught over time. Every single day, you have a mentor and a coach and somebody above you, a coach, a sergeant, a corporal, or somebody. There's always somebody that is a little bit more leadership than the other. But we all learn it. We have a different level of it. We have a different skill set. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's a well-oiled machine when they all connect together, which is really what we're trying to do. We're not trying to change your leadership style necessarily. We're trying to just refine it and make it really amazing, no matter what that is. It doesn't have to be a corporate leader. You can be a leader no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing.
We sit at 30,000 feet and put the puzzle together.
Yeah. So we thought it'd be really important just to come on today and just share, just talk about our experiences, funny, serious, and just weave, because leadership can go, we could talk about this every day for a year and not even break the surface of the direction and the depth of leadership and the psychiatry and the psychology behind all of your behaviors and how this is processed and all of the things. So this is what makes it so
didn't
fun.
I do that search today?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
So I typed in leadership to do some research today, and I got 1.5 billion results that came up for searches in 1.73 seconds. So not that leadership's a big deal.
Not a big deal, not so much. But really cool that we were talking about it this week, that was our focus. And we love to hear your feedback and your questions, and we love that you stay on here with us. We so much appreciate it. It's 35 minutes out of your life.
Or 40 or 10 or 50,
whatever, however you jump in here, even if it's the last 5 minutes, we hope that you gain some value from this. And Friday is kind of bittersweet. We go through this long week and we do live videos with you. We really look forward to coming on with you every single day, but we purposely step away for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. People are busy, they want to be with their family, and we need that time to just re-energize and come back really strong on Monday. So if you have a topic, if you have something that you want us to talk about, please let us know. Shoot it in the comments down here. We watch it. We look at it all weekend long, just to make sure that we're keeping up with you. But as always, share this. Share it in your groups. Share it with other professionals. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter. You think that somebody can gain something from this, do
And for the people that are watching the recorded version of this, because it got shared and you're like, hey, who are these two people? And you click on it and you're like, wow, this is kind of cool. I kind of like that. Oh, I can write? Yeah. Go onto our Facebook page, comment, and ask us a question or give us a topic or something of that nature. We really selling. Okay, good.
Thanks.
So, we challenge you. We want those topics. We want to do the research. We want our brains to be fried. For the right reason.
Hey, Greg, do me a solid. I challenge you to kind of narrow that down. Please let us know what you mean by selling. Could you be a little bit more specific with that one? Because that's like the leadership search.
Yeah. What about selling is it that you want?
Yeah. He's like, sure. We love immediate responses. We love that. So just to recap.
Is he sitting there with a Bud Light?
Or a Corona.
Bud Light or Corona? We're going to get an answer.
So to recap, I am Kim, or Coach K as most see.
I'm Coach Fritz.
And we are with Own Your Life. And we are here to help you. This is all about you. We love and appreciate you. And we will see you back here on Monday. Keep the comments coming. Remember to share. And we're also on YouTube. So subscribe there and comment, please. Oh, Miller Lite. Oh, John. It's a totally different person. Thanks, John, for sharing.
Wine today.
Wine? What happened?
So honored you guys come on this. And like I said, for all those of you that are going to be watching the recorded version of this, hey, we're honored that you took the time to even watch the recorded version. So come catch us live sometime, but we're on 2 different channels now, Facebook and YouTube.
Instagram, we're on there as well, and on Twitter. New to Twitter, so be kind.
We're gaining strength here.
Yeah.
So love you guys, and we'll see you Monday. Have a great, safe weekend.
Bye.